Does your child have an IEP? Then you've come to the right place. When our kids have special education or related services, then as parents, we're going to be sitting in a ton of IEP meetings. But your team is only talking about the deficits and problems. No wonder you want to cry after every single IEP meeting. That's why inside this video, I'm going to talk to you about strength-based IEPs and why your deficit aid-based IEP does not work. Then I'm going to walk you through 5 secrets your school doesn't want to tell you so your child can get the best strength-based IEP for their needs. Hey, what's up? I'm April Rarig, your special education advocate to make IEPs and 504 plans so much easier. If you're new here, go ahead and click on that subscribe button to get more videos like this in your inbox. And check us out on Instagram at RiseEdAdvocacy. Here's what you need to know. Individual education plans, also known as programs, are regulated under IDA law. Here's the problem. So many times when we go to an IEP meeting for our child, the team is only talking about the deficits or what they can't do. Why does this not work? This doesn't work because it only talks about your child in one little part. So what is a strength-based IEP? A strength-based IEP focuses on the entire constellation of your child's unique learning needs, meaning their strengths, preferences, and interests, and everything that your child needs in order to demonstrate real educational progress. This is why I'm going to show you how to set up a strength-based IEP for your child, because let's face it, pro tip, deficit-based IEPs don't work. And I'm going to spell out everything that you need with those 5 secrets in just a minute. So let me ask you something. How do you know if your child's IEP is strength-based or deficit-based? Meaning, what is the difference? That's exactly why I want you to grab my first free guide that spells out the entire checklist so you can see side by side what kind of IEP or what kind of approach your team is taking with your child. Make sure to grab that link in the description box below. So now you know a little bit more about what is a strength-based IEP. Let's dive into why. Specifically, why deficit-based IEPs don't work. Think about it for a minute. If your child only focuses on the deficits inside their education plan and all your team is talking about is what they can't do, it doesn't spell out what your team needs to do differently. What am I saying? Pro tip. I'm saying that your team needs to focus on what they need to teach differently to your child and how they're going to present that information so your child can demonstrate real progress. What am I saying? I'm saying that if your child is going to make changes, meaning do things differently, your education plan needs to focus on the entire constellation of your child's unique learning needs so that they can show, okay, they're going to work on this instead, and here are the underlying and the performance conditions so your child can achieve the goals as written. More about goals in just a minute. So now that you know all this when it comes to deficit-based IEPs, let me ask you something. What is an IEP meeting supposed to look like as it's written and spelled out under IDA law? That's exactly why I want you to check out my entire playlist that show you everything that you need to know when it comes to IEP meetings, and more importantly, how to prepare for an IEP meeting for your child. Grab that link in the description box below. So let's dive into those secrets. Secret number 1, start every single IEP meeting with your child's strengths. And you're going to continue with the strengths and refer back to it throughout the rest of the meeting. So what am I saying? I'm saying that when we talk about an IEP, we're going to be reforming the language that we use to talk about your child. What does this look like? This looks like adjusting how we talk about your child and the words we're using. This also means we're going to stop using subjective language like won't, can't, doesn't, isn't interested, all of those subjective terms, and we're going to be changing it to objective baseline data that talks about what it looks like. It also means we're going to be using something called the SWOT analysis. Now, perhaps you've heard about this in the business industries, but I'm talking about it in education. What am I saying? I'm saying that we're going to be organizing the language inside your child's IEP to look like this. We're first going to talk about what your child can do, meaning their strengths. Then we're going to jump into what they can't do, which is their unique learning needs. Then we're going to jump into what they need to learn. Pro tip, this has to do with goals. And finally, the barriers against learning, or what's called the threats. All of this combined is going to incorporate or change the language and reorganize your child's IEP so that the language is going to drive the rest of the IEP development and we can focus on strengths and not just the deficits. The truth of the matter is, pro tip, is that so many times when we go to IEP meetings as parents, we notice they're not productive. People aren't ready. Stuff is jumbled around. We're feeling overwhelmed. And this is exactly why I want to talk about something called the 5 keys to productive IEPs, which is going to reform how you advocate at the IEP table so that your meetings are so much better and we can get those strength-based IEPs that your child deserves. Make sure to grab that link in the description box below. So now you know secret number 1, you're going to start with strengths. This brings us to secret number 2. You're going to change the language inside your child's present levels. What am I saying? I'm saying that when you go pull up your child's last IEP, you're first going to find what's called the information page, which lists the dates and the personal identifiable information about your child. Then your team is going to spell out something called the present levels of academic achievement and functional performance, also known as PLAAFP. This is where we want to reform the language and continue with those strengths. So what should you see inside your child's PLAAFP? You should see, again, like I talked about earlier, the SWOT analysis. So you should see a narrative listing what your child knows, doesn't know, needs to learn, and the barriers to learning. Again, we're going to be showing the strengths, weaknesses, unique learning needs, and the threats. So everything I've already talked about with the strengths and that SWOT analysis, you're going to see it play out in the narrative inside the present level section. And pro tip, present levels of academic achievement and functional performance is the most powerful part of the IEP. Why? Because it drives the rest of the IEP in order for your team to get a strength-based IEP for your child. So we're talking about IEPs, specifically, how do we fix them? That's exactly why I want you to check out my next video playlist that lays out how to fix your child's IEP from start to finish, step by step, so that you can get a better IEP for your child that's based on strength and all the unique learning needs of your child, and stop all those deficit-based IEPs so you don't need to cry anymore after every single meeting. Grab that link in the description box below. So let's do a quick recap. Secret number 1, you're going to start every IEP meeting with strengths. Secret number 2, you're going to drive that strength into the present levels section of your child's IEP. This brings us to section 3, or secret 3, and this has to do with continuing the strengths into their accommodations and support section. What am I saying? I'm saying that accommodations need to be based on your child's strengths and not their deficits. What does this look like? This looks like not choosing accommodations based on a drop-down menu or your child's eligibility or disability. It does mean that your team needs to choose the accommodations that are going to work to their strengths, meaning your child's preferences, interests, and learning areas of what they already know. So going back to that SWOT analysis, remember I said what your child knows? This is exactly where you come up with those accommodations. What am I also saying? I'm saying that accommodations need to be individualized and personalized and based on your child's assessment findings and that present level section that we've already talked about. So now you know these 3 secrets. Let me ask you something. Was your child's last IEP strength-based or deficit-based? How can you make a strength-based IEP? Well, the number one way you can make a strength-based IEP is by requesting a new IEP meeting. And that's exactly why I created a fillable template that walks you through how to request an IEP and spells out word for word what you need to do in order to request drafts, how you want the team to review and consider your information, how you want them to address strengths inside the IEP, even get all the information before so you can review it and you feel so much comfortable going into the IEP fully prepped with all those drafts and progress reports or even IEP goals. Make sure to grab that link in the description box below for our fillable guide. This brings us to secret number 4. Your team needs to write strength-based IEP goals. What am I talking about? I'm talking about something called a SMARTER goal. This means that your IEP goals need to be specific, measurable, relevant, person-centered, time-bound, and they need to incorporate the strengths that are going back to the evaluation results and are going to be research or evidence-based. So what do you want to look for inside your child's IEP goal? You want to look for the accommodations, the modifications, prompting, and cueing. Remember earlier I was talking about all the narrative inside the present level section and how to choose accommodations based on your child's strengths. Those accommodations and those present levels data need to go into the IEP goals. It's going to totally change your child's IEP goals and they're going to make them strength-based. This brings us to secret number 5. What you say inside your IEP meeting matters. What am I saying? I'm saying that you are the director of your ship, meaning you can advocate and communicate differently at the IEP table. Case in point, when you're sitting at the IEP meeting and your team is talking about, okay, let's write the goals and we're going to talk about this, or okay, we're using these accommodations, these are what they've already done. Here's what you can say instead. Pro tip. Let's take a look at those IEP goals. Are they talking about what does it look like? How are you incorporating the accommodations inside my child's IEP goals? Or you could say this, well, I noticed that the language that you're using is not really clear inside the present level section. You're saying what my child can't do, or that they won't, or they shouldn't do this. What about if we change the language to talk about what does it look like? It's one of the most powerful things that you can ask for inside an IEP meeting. Speaking of secrets, when your child's general education teacher comes to the IEP meeting, it's one of the most powerful things that you can do as a parent. What am I saying? I'm saying that what you ask your child's teacher can drive the IEP and incorporate more strengths and relevant, useful, and meaningful IEP development. So, what do you need to ask your teacher inside the IEP? Make sure to check out my video that lays out tons of negotiation tips so that you know exactly what to say and how to say it with everybody else at your child's IEP team. Grab that link in the description box below. So now you know what to do when it comes to strength-based IEPs. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. How are you going to change things at the IEP table? Well, here's the truth, pro tip. It's all about what you ask for and how to get it, meaning your written communication needs to change if you want to make things better at the IEP table. That's exactly why I want you to check out my parent participation IEP workshop. This one-day, step-by-step digital workshop that's downloadable and you get it instantly walks you through exactly how to incorporate all the information that I already talked about, meaning how to write something called a parent report that you can talk about your child's strengths, how to do what's called a parent letter of attachment where it attaches to your child's record, how to make a request for things, how to formally respond. It stops the drama and makes your communication so much easier so you and your child can get the best IEP for their unique learning needs. Grab that link in the description box below. So now you know so much more when it comes to strength-based IEPs, how to avoid deficit-based IEPs, and more importantly, those 5 secrets that your school doesn't tell you so your child can get the best strength-based education plan. Do you have a question? Put it in the link in the description box below. Do you want me to do more videos or expand on more what I've talked about? Put it there too. Like and subscribe to get more videos like this in your inbox, and check us out on Instagram at @Advocacy. Don't forget to grab all those links below so that you can be the best advocate for your child's unique learning needs. I'm April Rarig, your special education advocate. I can't wait to see you for our next video.